The reputation of the Kalashnikov rifle has long been established as one of the most legendary rifles in human history. But is everything so smooth with the history of the rifle and its creator? Today, let's find out how the Kalashnikov rifle gained such immense popularity in the war market, which myths about it are true and which are not, and whether it has any connection to Nazi Germany. Interested? Then subscribe and watch the video till the end. Mikhail Kalashnikov can be considered a real hero forged in the fire of World War II. He was born in 1919 and began his life as a simple peasant boy who at that time did not even think about the worldwide fame awaiting him. After coming of age, he joined the Red Army and went to the front of the Great Patriotic War. The experience he gained during the war pushed Kalashnikov to the idea of creating a reliable and easy-to-maintain rifle. Later, after returning from the war, Mikhail sat down, scratched his head, and started creating his first Kalashnikov under the 7.62 by 39 cartridge. As Kalashnikov himself said, "A soldier made a weapon for a soldier." I was a private myself and knew well the difficulties faced in a soldier's life. When its design was being finalized, I visited military units, consulted with specialists, and the soldiers told me what satisfied them and what needed improvement. The result was a simple, reliable and effective weapon. The AK works in any conditions, fires without fail after being in the dirt, swamp or falling from a height onto a hard surface. This rifle is very simple, but I want to say that making something simple is sometimes much more difficult than making something complex. Mikhail Kalashnikov repeatedly emphasized that his invention was initially intended to defend the motherland. He started working on his first rifle in 1944 when he was only 25 years old. Kalashnikov studied the experience of other countries in the field of automatic rifles and analyzed their designs to create his own weapon. The first prototypes developed by him were successfully tested in 1946. Based on the test results and feedback from military specialists, Kalashnikov made improvements to his rifle's design to make it more effective and reliable, as well as to fit the strict requirements of the military commission. After a few adjustments, the rifle was adopted by the Soviet Army in 1947 under the designation Kalashnikov's Automatic Rifle of 1947, hence the abbreviation AK-47. This weapon combined simplicity, reliability, and excellent lethality, which immediately caught the attention of military experts. The advantage of the Kalashnikov over other rifles to those years was not only its technical characteristics, but also its availability for mass production. Simply put, any country capable of organizing production could supply its armed forces with a reliable and effective rifle. During the rapid development of the Cold War, the AK-47 became a symbol of strength and power. The Soviet government actively exported this weapon to its allies and countries fighting for independence. The reliability of the AK-47 was proven on battlefields worldwide, eventually giving it legendary status. However, the success of the AK-47 was not limited to countries with a socialist orientation. In military conflicts where ease of maintenance was a crucial characteristic, this rifle found its fans even among those who opposed the Soviet Union. For example, during the Soviet-Afghan War from 1979 to 1989, Afghan Mujahideen, supported by various countries, including the USA and Pakistan, used the AK-47 as their main firearm against Soviet troops. Iraq, after various conflicts, including the war with Iran in the 1980s, acquired a large number of Kalashnikov rifles. Libya, Egypt, Yugoslavia, and many others are also on the list. Mass production of the Kalashnikov was organized in various countries, and over time, modifications of the AK-47 appeared in the armed forces of almost every corner of the planet, as the weapon worked well in both severe frosts and intense sandstorms. Nevertheless, there are still many mysteries and questions surrounding the creation of this excellent weapon. One such mystery is the claim that Kalashnikov did not invent this rifle but copied it from the German assault rifle StG-44. This rifle was invented by the famous German gunsmith Hugo Schmeisser in 1942. Rumors of plagiarism are further fueled by the fact that after the war, more than 50 samples of the STG-44 rifle were transported to the city of Izhevsk, where the AK-47 was being developed for technical disassembly. In addition to the rifles, over 10,000 pages of technical documentation on the STG-44 were sent to the factory. Naturally, after this, people started saying that Kalashnikov merely modified the STG-44 and released it as his AK-47. It is known that after the Allies occupied the city of Seoul, arms production in Germany was banned. Later, in 1946, Hugo Schmeisser and his family were offered to work at the Ural factories producing weapons as consultants. It is also known that the Germans spent some time in Izhevsk, and it was after this that our Kalashnikov was completed. Indeed, there is a certain external similarity between these two rifles. Both have a high sight, the gas tube is located above the barrel, and both weapons have a curved magazine. This similarity likely gave rise to the myth that the AK-47 extensively borrowed components and design ideas from the STG-44. Kalashnikov may have based his rifle on the German design, but the AK-47 is an original invention completely different from the German sample, not only in its technical characteristics, but also in its internal structure. Almost all parts and crucial components of the AK-47 are entirely different from the STG-44. Moreover, even the disassembly principles of these automatic rifles are absolutely different. The difference is visible everywhere, starting from the locking mechanism, the repeating lock in the AK-47 and the tilt lock in the STG-44. The fire mode selectors in the STG and AK are completely different, and the trigger mechanism, despite its similarity, has a different practical implementation. If you examine each part of the rifles individually, you will not find anything in common between them. If we talk about the ammunition for these rifles, they do have an external similarity, as do many other types of ammunition worldwide. This is not surprising, as the bullet shape is considered the most successful in terms of ballistic characteristics. Furthermore, the AK-47 used a 7.62 by 39mm cartridge, while the STG-44 used a 7.92 by 33mm cartridge. The similar caliber is also easy to explain, as before the creation of such weapons, various rifles with a 7.62 caliber were the main weapons. The automation principle in both samples, as in most semi-automatic and automatic rifles of that time, is based on the use of powder gas pressure vented through a channel in the barrel wall. However, the reciprocating movement of the STG-44's bolt carrier occurs inside the receiver, leading to increased friction of the moving bolt carrier against the internal surfaces of the receiver. In the AK-47, a similar part moves not inside the receiver but above it along two guides, which is the most advantageous solution for the system's operability in case of increased internal mechanism contamination. The cocking handles of the bolts in the AK and the STG are located on different sides. The locking mechanisms of both rifles are also different. In the STG-44, the bolt locks by tilting in the vertical plane, while in the AK-47, it locks by rotating. Moreover, the design solution of the Kalashnikov's bolt ensures preliminary extraction of the case during the unlocking process, whereas the German rifle lacks this feature, negatively affecting its reliability. The disassembly for cleaning and lubrication is also different. In the STG-44, the main action during disassembly is detaching the stock from the receiver. In the AK-47, the stock is inseparable from the receiver, and all main mechanisms are removed from the rifle after removing the receiver cover. To make it clearer, let's compare these two rifles in terms of characteristics. The Kalashnikov fires a 7.62 by 39mm cartridge, while the STG uses a similar cartridge named 7.92 by 33mm Kurz. In terms of rate of fire, the two rifles are somewhat similar, with the Kalashnikov having 600 rounds per minute against 500 rounds per minute for the STG-44. Both have a weight not significantly different from each other, 4.3 kilograms for the AK and 4.6 kilograms for the STG respectively. The effective firing range of the Kalashnikov is 350 to 850 meters, while for the STG-44, it ranges from 300 to 600 meters depending on the firing mode. Both options usually have a 30-round magazine. Indeed, the AK-47 has many elements copied from various weapon samples, including some from the STG-44, but this was done not to intentionally copy the weapon, but to combine the best developments in automatic weapon design of that time. It is precisely because of his ability to evaluate and choose the best that Kalashnikov managed to create such an excellent weapon that has been used by countries worldwide for more than 50 years and still remains relevant. It is also worth noting that if Kalashnikov copied the German STG-44, why was the production of this weapon not continued? The STG-44 can only be found in private collections or museums, while the Kalashnikov rifle continues to exist and is constantly being modified, each time becoming an even more formidable weapon. Speaking of modifications, let's discuss this now. In the 21st century, several new versions of the Kalashnikov rifle have already been released. Each new version improves something, whether it's the caliber or other technical components, or this is done to keep up with various modern weapons from other countries. To understand all this, let's first look at the advantages and disadvantages of the Kalashnikov rifle. The advantages certainly include its relatively low cost. Compared to other rifle models, it offers a good price-to-quality ratio. Due to its popularity and mass production, the AK-47 is accessible to a wide range of potential owners. Another advantage of the AK-47 is its simple design. The rifle consists of relatively few parts, making it very easy to assemble, disassemble, and repair. Even a non-specialist can easily master all the necessary skills to maintain this rifle. Another advantage of the AK-47 is its versatility. It can be used for various purposes, from close combat to accurate long-range shooting. The rifle can be equipped with various accessories and configurations depending on the task at hand. However, these are general statements, so I decided to look into the downsides from those who have used the Kalashnikov in real life. One of the downsides is the excessive power of the gas engine, which causes the rifle to shake when firing long bursts of more than 2 or 3 rounds without a firm hold, causing the aim to shift. Because of this, the effective range of burst fire does not exceed 300 meters, although single shots can sometimes be fired up to 900 meters. Other drawbacks include minor design flaws, such as an inconvenient fire selector that makes a loud characteristic click when switching, or a short sight line that reduces the accuracy of single shots. Another disadvantage is its immense popularity, as the rifle is used not only by good guys but also by various terrorist groups worldwide. Among the latest modifications and variants of the Kalashnikov rifle, the AK-308, capable of firing NATO's 7.62mm rounds, stands out. Another recent example is the AK-15, which fires regular 7.62 by 39mm rounds. This is a slight modification of the AK-12, originally firing 5.45mm rounds, and can theoretically be adapted to any cartridge used in modern rifles from various countries. And since we earlier tried to determine if the Kalashnikov is a copy of any weapon, does it have any interesting clones or copies over the years? Indeed, even Russia's main ideological and geopolitical rival has its own Kalashnikov rifle called the AK Alpha. There's not much to say here. It is made in the purely American style, beautiful, all plastic, intended for the civilian market and not suitable for actual combat. By the way, even the automation was completely redesigned and has nothing in common with the original Kalash. Essentially, this weapon was made for people who wanted a legendary scary Russian weapon in their collection. But while the American rifle merely resembled the Kalashnikov somewhat, China went ahead and created its version of the AK-47 called Type 56, which can look very similar to the original Soviet model. This Chinese rifle is probably the most accurate and mass-produced copy of the original AK in the world. Type 56 was produced under Soviet license on Soviet equipment supplied to China in the early 1950s. So, if we're talking about the boldest copy, but at the same time the most plausible, China has once again outdone everyone. In the end, it doesn't really matter who stole what from whom. Kalashnikov may have borrowed a little from the German STG-44, and the STG-44 might have borrowed from something else. China, on the other hand, simply copied the blueprints outright. In any case, winners are not judged, and the Kalashnikov rifle is undoubtedly one of the most popular rifles in the world. Was it luck? In the rapid developing arms market, I don't think it was luck. It's all about Mikhail Kalashnikov, who once invented something that made me make this video for you. Share in the comments any other interesting facts you know about the Kalashnikov, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the new videos.